Brought to you by Mint Mobile. Stay tuned for a special offer at the end of the show. Hi, and welcome to the Mobile Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Miriam Jouar, and today is Friday, February 20th, 2026. And I've got the most excellent Allison Johnson here from The Verge. Hi, Allison. How's it going?
Hello, it's great. I'm gearing up for phone week and a half.
Phone madness, you mean?
Phone madness, yeah.
In a way, I really enjoyed this lull we had for a month.
Yeah.
Because now it's coming hard.
I know. It was like you kind of knew it. Like it was too quiet for too long.
But it was nice.
It was nice. Yeah. And it's over.
Yeah. It felt like kind of during COVID when we had all these lulls.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, I know things are going to get crazy again, but
yeah,
I'm going to stay home for now.
So I want to talk about a couple of things that you wrote about recently that are just amazing chef's kiss stuff. Like the purse computer, or rather purse computer without the, very important. If you're going to follow the naming convention, listeners, to talk about any of the story that Allison wrote, it's going to have to be purse computer with no the, just like you say iPhone. You don't
exactly.
You're not supposed to say the iPhone. According to Apple, there's a whole guide on that. So you're the creator of that term, and so we're going to respect that, folks, okay?
Thank you.
Second, we're going to talk about Halide and the new Process Zero stuff they've added, which I don't use the app, but I've heard about it, and you're essentially pro photographer at this point, so I kind of want your thoughts on that. And then, we have this new Pixel, which I kind of want to give out a big sigh at this point. I'm a Pixel user. Like I'm on board on any Pixel, but man, they're making it really hard this time around. And then of course, Samsung, who's going to bombard us with very iterative tech next week. And then finally, also Nothing, which is kind of doing a volley on their mid-range phones. It's all coming together. Like, this lull we've enjoyed is now gone.
It's over.
And this is not counting MWC. I'm heading there. You're heading there. It's not counting the Xiaomi phones we know are coming. The 17's already been announced. Pretty sure it's coming. The Oppo Find N6, we're pretty sure is coming, which is the folding phone. Honor has a bunch of stuff as well. Folding phone V6. Oh my God. We're all going to die.
Yeah.
And then
and then an Apple event just on top of it.
Oh my God, you forgot. Yeah.
Just as the cherry on top.
Oh my God, the Apple event. I'm actually kind of excited about that one. Like of all the things, I mean, Nothing, I'm always kind of excited because, they always do crazy stuff and it's always kind of fun. But then those MacBooks that have been rumored forever, if they're actually happening, I want it bad.
Yeah.
Like, I will, if I can't get a review in it, I've already reached out to my Apple PR folks and hinted. Because, of course, they're not going to tell you anything. But especially at my level, for you guys, you might have gotten briefed, but we have not.
No.
I have not. So I am looking forward to having a MacBook, and I'll buy one. Because if it's affordable, you know me, like we're talking purse computer. And this actually ties in really well because you have some qualms with your MacBook Air. And then I have no qualms per se, but I went from a MacBook 12-inch. I suffered on that computer for 5 years as my on-the-go computer. And I learned some habits to be more efficient with the tech, with the specs. And that's why I don't care what this MacBook brings. I know it'll be better than what I had. And as long as it's as good as my Air that I have newer, it's an M2 I have. So it's not like a big deal. Anyway.
Yeah.
Take it away, purse computer.
Okay, purse computer. And I need to, as I introduce the concept of purse computer, need to nod to our friend, Michael Fisher, Mr. Mobile.
Yes.
Who really inspired the journey. He's been doing this, he's been on the foldable train for years and constructing, I think, what he calls the 4-pocket laptop, where you have a little travel keyboard, you have a folding phone, like the book style folding phone. And you put it on a stand, you get a little, maybe like travel mouse, and you have a laptop. I've been aware of this concept. I've seen it and kind of wrote it off as like, okay, that's fine for Michael Fisher. That's like a very extra thing to do. But I found myself, we were in this lull where I got to like hang out with the phones that were launched last year. And I came back to the Z Fold 7. It was so light and so thin.
Yeah. I'm using it too right now. I've got it in a case, but
yeah. Does it have a kickstand? Because I need
no, this is a free case I got from one of the case makers. Most importantly, it has magnets on the back. That's why. I could remove the half part in the front, but I'm worried that, like all this time when I reviewed it, I had no case on it and nothing bad happened to the phone. And I'm worried that I'm going to be like using it for 5 days. Like the reason I'm using it right now is because I want to get the Samsung state of mind in terms of UI. Because the folding phone that's usually in my pocket is the Fine N5. And so I'm very much looking forward to the Oppo replacement for that. Yeah. Because I've used it as my secondary phone for an entire year. And for me, and this ties into Purse Computer, I've used the Purse Computer concept with a single device. So no keyboard. So that's been my Purse Computer approach. Yeah. It's not really a Purse Computer because I'm using the phone really, but I'm just saying that I can relate to what you wrote about, and I've tried what you wrote about in the past, and I have talked to Michael about it and others. I bought the Samsers keyboard that you.
Oh yeah,
just as, it was so cheap. I was like, it's coming today sometime from Amazon. And so anyway, continue.
Yeah. So the journey inspired by Michael Fisher. I ended up using the Z Fold 7 for a little bit, and for various reasons I found myself in situations where I was like, I needed to do a little bit of work, like type something up, or I was on a flight back from CES and my computer was not connecting to Wi-Fi, but the phone was. So I ended up, I was like, I can write a whole like article on this thing, something about having that big inner screen, even without the physical keyboard, does something, I think, for my mindset. So
exactly,
I'm at home and on Amazon, I'm like, all right, I'm doing this. I'm getting tiny, weird keyboards to try and make this thing happen. And I've fallen in love with Purse Computer. I think it's Z Fold 7 really feels like the phone to do it with because it feels like just all upside. Having it be so slim and light. I have my complaints about this phone, but for a folding phone, it's as close as we have among the major manufacturers in the US to something that feels like a slab style phone. So I'm like, I'm already carrying this thing with me when I go to the coffee shop, regardless, if I have my MacBook Air, that's there too. But I don't know if in my old age or just like hoisting my 4-year-old, I have, acquired shoulder pain and back pain. I can't carry the MacBook in a tote bag, or anything like that. So it turns an outing where I'm going to just be using my MacBook Air to write a Google Doc, into a whole thing where I need my backpack. And if I have my backpack, I'll have my water bottle and my snacks. And
so it's a mindset thing, right? So it clicks you around. Like Purse Computer makes it so that you can just go. Like you are in this kind of in-between state between having your phone in your hand as a slab phone and having a full-on MacBook Air, Chromebook, whatever, in front of you, open. And so I think, and that's where my state is with the open use of my Fine N5 or right now Z Fold 7. I don't use it with the keyboard. So mine is a one-pocket solution. Yeah. Yours is a Purse Computer is a two-pocket solution because, you're just using a keyboard. Michael's doing 3-pocket or 4, depending if you have a kickstand or not. I guess for you are kind of, you got a case with it. Yeah, okay. So because initially you use a Samsers stand, right?
Yeah, and I need to get the stand case. I don't have one for the Z Fold 7. So I am carrying around that little, they all come with
3 pockets right now.
Yeah, I've got the stand, the keyboard, and the phone. And
so I think there are very valid versions of purse computer. Like you can get up to 4 pockets. I think that's reasonable if you add a mouse. So for me, I've always been either one pocket, like I use it opened, and you're right. The real estate immediately puts me in a different state of mind. It doesn't even matter that I don't have a keyboard. I'm using the thumb keyboard, and I'm like, oh, I'm working now.
Yeah.
I can write a story now. I can be productive now. Whereas even on my Pixel 10 Pro XL, it's big screen. Like if I have an iPhone 17 Pro Max in my hand or a Galaxy S25 Ultra, big screens, but I still feel like I can do stuff, but I'm not really productive. But as soon as I get that square-ish real estate, that landscape, if we go to the wide format soon with the iPhone and the Samsung Roomer and the Honor Roomer and the original Pixel Fold and the original Oppo Find N and Find N2 that were all passport form factors. So when you open them, they're more landscape. That would still work for me too. I think what you're doing is the next step, which is, okay, now I want more real estate on that big square screen. So let's get a keyboard going. And then Michael's putting I also need a pointing device. And so that's why I got the Samsers, because I have an old Stowaway keyboard it's called the Stowaway Bluetooth keyboard. It was the thing to have in 2005.
Ooh.
Like it was one of the first folding Bluetooth keyboards. It's like $150. It's metal and it's really well made. It still works. The integrated kickstand, but the kickstand broke. So that's why I was like, okay, since the Samsers comes with a kickstand separately, this could be it's also looking slightly lighter and also more disposable, which is what I need. I don't want this Stowaway keyboard now that I've pulled it out of storage, I found it incredibly. After 20 years of not using it, it was actually stuck closed for a while. Like the keys were like stuck, pushed in. Oh no. I had to tap them a bit so that the membranes released under there and when they pop, and then the key would pop. But it works fine. It's just, I was like, because, I wanted to try your experiment. It had been such a while. So unfortunately, the Samsers keyboard didn't arrive in time. But I think I'm going to try your solution. Purse computer, 2 items. Well, 3 if you count the stand.
Right.
And then I'm going to graduate and add a Bluetooth mouth to that and see if I can go back. Because I've done it in the past. Like I have a photo somewhere. And if you guys are watching my Patreon right now, those of you who are paying for the video version that comes out a day in advance every week for $5 a month, patreon.com/TNKGRL. This is my little play for you. For those of you watching on video, I will insert here a photo of the setup I had in 2005. Okio Model 01 Plus. Have you ever heard of this thing? It's a Windows XP computer with a 5-inch screen that you can slip in your pocket. It's the size of like a paperback. It's really small, really slow though, because it's like running like a Crusoe processor. It's like some Intel knockoff.
Oh, wow.
Pentium, Celeron type processor from 2005.
Yeah.
Has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. It has like one USB-A port and 2.0 and some kind of dock connector. It's incredible. I still have my unit. It was like it was like a $2,500 computer in 2005, and I decided to try it out because I wanted the mobile life. And so in that photo, you see the Okio on the Stowaway stand with the Stowaway keyboard in front of it, and a tiny little, made in China Bluetooth mouth, one of those like super small ones, for baby hands.
Yeah.
And a Sony Ericsson T68i GPRS Bluetooth modem. So I can be mobile.
Oh, wow.
So I can have GPRS, 50 kilobits per second data connectivity, and I'm browsing Gizmodo on the touchscreen.
Oh, man. That was a dream.
Yep. So I'll put that image in here, folks. And so I've done that was 4 pockets essentially, right? Mouse, keyboard, Okio, and phone, right?
Wow. Yeah.
I've done it. It didn't stick because the Okio is the screen is super high res, but it's so small at 5 inches across that you really have to squint to see anything. And even back then when I was younger and had better eyes, it was just not practical. So I upgraded to a MacBook, not MacBook because they weren't called that then, PowerBook G4 12-inch, like the really small one. That's one I went from. And that's what got me going on Apple, like fully, because I had Macs before, but they were like from jobs. Like I had, my job would give me a Mac. It was a desktop Mac. I never had a portable. And so I decided, you know what? Everybody's raving about this OS 10, Mac OS now that it's Unix based. And I used Linux for years from day one, basically. And I used Unix in college in the 90s. So I was very familiar with command line and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, so I want a computer that's beautiful, great hardware. And this OS looks like it's Unix based, but really easy to use. And I'm sick and tired of every time I get a Windows machine spending 500 days configuring it the way I want. I kind of want to reset. I can't reset in Windows because I don't like the defaults. And I'm so used to my setup that I'm going to fall back into it. So if I switch OSs, maybe I'll just accept what's there. And that's exactly what happened. I never configured a computer after that ever again, other than maybe putting a background screen on it and moving my Docker around. And then, so then and that kind of brings us nicely to the conversation we'll have later. But back to Purse Computer for a second. I think that there is a thing about opening that screen and getting that state of mind.
Totally.
And so what were the obstacles? What did you find worked? What did you find didn't work?
Well, the first obstacle was forgetting the keyboard. Like the first time I was like, I'm going to bring Purse Computer to a coffee shop. It's like a 15-minute walk. And the whole way there, I was like, yeah, this is so light. I barely feel it on my shoulder. And I got to the coffee shop. I was like, that's because there's no keyboard in here. But I still had the inner screen and I did some emails. And
did you do the thumb type?
I did. Yeah.
It's
I'm getting
painful.
better at that. Yeah. But so I think the two main hurdles are sort of like putting yourself in the mindset that the phone is a computer, and not forgetting a portion of it at home. But then there's the part where you kind of have to convince the phone that it's a computer.
Right.
It
the
will
actual software aspect of it.
Yeah. It will sort
Android
of fight you.
Sucks at that. I think iOS does too, to be honest with you. Although I'm very excited to see what Apple does with the Fold. If it does turn into an iPad, like it will be a hybrid running iPad OS when it's open. Anyway, carry on.
I know. And then we have aluminium, OS coming sometime this year. Yeah. Very interesting things in this weird nebulous territory.
I'm really hoping that those of you who are YouTube creators out there, Michael, if you're listening, because I know you do B-roll while listening to my podcast, please insert a snippet of Johnny Ive saying aluminium every time you do a review, a YouTube video, because you're allowed to do that. Plagiarism it won't hit copyright hit you. Put him saying aluminium every time you say aluminium.
I know. Do we have to say aluminium? Is it aluminum or?
No, it's actually going to be aluminium with an I-U. Yeah.
That's cheeky of them, making us say aluminium.
I have many bad thoughts about Google this week, mostly because of that pixel we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Usually I don't have many bad thoughts about Google. I mean, other than the fact that, capitalism and the world on fire part and the AI madness that we're all living through right now.
Yeah.
So I have good reasons, but they're not the most important. Right now, the priority reason is this pixel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm writing out Purse Computer until I can, until I have to give it up, and which might be next week when I don't know. Like the Purse Computer lifestyle for me is it's very comfortable when I'm like, I am setting out to do some work. I want to leave the house. I'm probably going to run an errand afterward or pick up my kid. And it would be annoying to have my laptop, on my shoulder, or I'm taking my backpack, or what if we go to dinner, then I have this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the backpack is a problem. Like, if you're carrying a purse already, like Purse Computer is exactly that. It is in your purse. It's with you at all times. For me, it's the multi-pocket cargo pants thing, right?
Yeah.
I have to bring at least a laptop sleeve, maybe a little sling bag or something if I'm going to bring my MacBook Air anywhere. And then what do you do with it? Like, as you said, you don't want to leave it in the car. I mean, certainly not in San Francisco.
Yeah, no.
So unless you have an electric car with a frunk, then it's a really good solution. But I'm just saying, like, it's a hassle. And so I think the problem you ran into is the problem I run into all the time when I use any phone and I try to be productive with Google Docs, which is Google Docs sucks on Android. And in a sidebar, you guys all need to listen to David Pierce and Allison's podcast, the Verge cast, the most recent one where the two of you talk about this. Like, why are Android apps so crappy, especially Google's? Because as you said, they all run around with iPhones in their hands. What is wrong with these people?
I know.
They make a Pixel and they don't use Pixel. You see the Google people at events, they all have freaking iPhones at a Pixel event. No wonder they failed at making a decent Pixel 10a.
Uh-oh, there's the 10a.
Oh God, I mentioned
it's coming out.
Oh my God.
That's the thing. You run into the weird little bugs that persist in Android apps because I think
nobody cares.
Forget that they have Android apps, and I'm like, this is like fundamentally broken. You work around those things. I find a lot of stuff runs in Chrome tabs like really well. Slack in a Chrome tab on the inner screen of the phone is great. But it sort of fights you against like, I have my work profile kind of as a secondary account on the phone. So it's always defaulting to my personal, which is like, it's my personal phone. That's the behavior I want, but I want to be able to be like, no, when I want to open a tab and then switch as easily as I do on desktop. And it just fights you every step of the way. So that's my big complaint. Let me run Google Docs, my work profile in a Chrome tab, Google.
I agree. I think that there's an opportunity, and again, aluminum, but there's an opportunity for Chrome in particular on folding phones to be a different version than Chrome on bar phones or on the front screen cover screen, because I think that it's a different use case, like especially when you do a web browser, having the ability to, but then again, it's interesting because here's something I want to point out in the Google verse. Like if you're in a desktop OS, like, Linux, Windows, Mac OS, Chrome OS, you're in there. If you are running YouTube and you have multiple accounts within your YouTube login, so like, for example, I have a Mobile Tech Podcast YouTube channel, then I have a Mobile Tech More, in which I put snippets of the podcast. And if I switch to Mobile Tech More in Chrome, then my YouTube Music is no longer my YouTube Music because it's using so even within Google's single login, my Gmail, I have multiple accounts that are at least YouTube related. And if I'm not on the right one, I don't get my music playlists and stuff. And I can't have two windows open logged into the two different accounts in the same Chrome instance whatsoever.
Right.
So I use a second browser. I use Firefox to listen to my YouTube Music. Now there is a how there's apps that let you create a virtual browser app, right? Like you can say, I don't know what it's called on Mac OS, but it also exists on Windows. You can say, take this web page and turn it into an exe, like an executable, like a .app file. And then it does that. And then it's got its own login, its own container, its own everything. It's completely compartmentalized. So I've got a YouTube Music app that does that I created. I have an icon on my, but my point is I had to jump through hoops and do stuff. And that's not even an option on a phone. Like, as you said, it's not even the YouTube profiles. It's your actual multiple accounts, and it locks you into that one account on Chrome. And if you switch accounts, all your tabs are switching.
Yep. Yeah.
And it breaks everything, right?
Yeah. It's such a headache.
So then you have to open, you can do it you can fix that somewhat by opening anonymous windows or whatever, incognito windows. But then they lose context so that you have to log in every time.
Right. Yeah. I did get the suggestion of run Firefox. Yeah. I'm like, that makes the most sense. And it is so sad that that's like the best option right now. But I'm willing to put up with it. There's like enough upside in my needs are so light, like I'm a writer. The way David Pierce described it on our conversation was like, we make Google Docs for a living. I'm not,
Basically.
which doesn't even require me to like tap the screen a whole bunch. I'm basically kind of sitting down and I can type, and that's as far as it's going to go for the afternoon. So it absolutely does not work for every kind of job, workflows and lifestyles for sure. But I am so enjoying just having it as an option of like, I want to leave the house unencumbered. I think we maybe have so much PTSD about like carrying so much crap around when we're covering a trade show.
Yeah.
You've got your backpack with all your stuff and your computer and your camera and your lenses, and then you have to go to like dinner and you have to go to the thing after dinner. And I'm like, I don't want any of that in my real life. Like, I don't want to be hauling around all this equipment. So maybe it's a little bit of that. And maybe other people don't mind so much, but I'm finding it very freeing.
You make a good point. Like I from day one, when I started blogging in 2005 as a hobby, and then eventually it became a job about 5 years later, 6 years later or something, I initially said, I'm going to do all my content on a phone. Of course, that didn't really happen right so much, but the photography and video pretty quickly was all my phone. Mm-hmm. The only thing, when I went to Engadget and I actually had to be a professional, I got a real camera. I got a Sony NEX because I couldn't get the depth of field effect, right? Like the kind of blurring background when I took close-up shots of products. And so, because now phones do it. If you use a Pixel now or an iPhone or any phone really, and you set the lens to 2x, I do all my product photos like that. They all come out really great. As long as there's enough light, natural light, I'm great. All my product photos, all my reviews you guys read on Hot Hardware, my car reviews you see on Tom's Guide and Tech Radar, all of that, or my phone reviews for Geekspin for Elena, all of that is 2x Pixel and 2x Samsung and 2x Apple. And it's like mostly Pixel. And I mean, it's great. I don't have to worry about, I don't have to use portrait mode or anything. It just works.
Yeah.
So, now the laptop has always been around when I want to get serious writing done. Like, but the folding phone has really changed it for me. And for me, it's really on airplanes. Like, if I'm traveling business class, great. I can pull out my MacBook Air. I've got lots of room. I can spread out. But, I used to be a lot bigger because I lost some weight. But it was always a challenge in economy because I could barely put anything on that tray. And so that's why I started the one pocket solution of unfolding and just using my thumbs, because then I could kind of be in any position in that uncomfortable seat for that 2-hour flight. Because thankfully, most of my economy flights are the short flights. Most of my long flights are generally at least some sort of premium or business class. And so then I can really spread out. But when I can spread out, I've been super productive on like even 5-hour flights from San Francisco to New York City in economy with a folding phone in my hand. Yeah. Just Google Doc, and again, I use the Android app here, not the Chrome one, even though it sucks, but like you kind of get used to it. You're just writing, right? As you said, like you're not doing a lot of formatting or having to use a cursor or anything like that. So.
Right. Yeah. And when I get into like comments and I'm like addressing edits on stuff, it gets a little
That's
annoying.
When it gets a pain. Yeah.
Yeah. But just for a pure, like I'm writing a draft. Yeah, it's totally doable. It is doable, as the one pocket device. And it gets even better with a little Samsers keyboard.
So that's why I'm flying to Europe on Thursday next week, right after Samsung. And this is economy premium I managed to get, not business. But so I've got a bit more space. I could probably use my laptop, especially now that I'm a little smaller. But I think that I'm going to try the Samsers and my Find N5. And, I hope you get your hands on the Oppo, because the Honor has terrible software generally. The hardware is impeccable though. And the hardware on the Galaxy is really great now, and the software, I'm not a big fan of One UI, but it's solid, it's fine. Yeah. It's just that the camera doesn't live up to my expectations, and I like to have a unit that has everything, right?
Yeah.
And the Find N5's camera is up there with like OnePlus 13, kind of grade, so it's actually really good and better than even better than Pixel Fold, to be honest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's why I urge you, if you have the chance, to try it out, because
Yeah.
unless you're on Verizon, it'll work in North America. I get 5G on T-Mobile and AT&T on that phone, no problem. Everything works. Voice LTE works on these. This is a Find N5, so I'm assuming the global Find N6 will be the same. And the reason I recommend the Oppo is because it's got the same delightful hardware as the Honor, but it also has essentially Oxygen OS. It's like Oppo is Color OS. If you use their OnePlus and you like that experience, and you get Open Canvas, which is the best multitasking on any folding phone. So that's kind of why it's been my go-to.
Yeah. I am I'm looking forward to Mobile World Congress for many reasons. Not all of them are meat related. I do want to go like hold all the phones that we don't get here in the US. And
it's so fun.
My colleague in the UK, Dominic Preston, does an amazing job covering those. And I get very jealous when he's like, yeah, this phone has a weird telephoto lens that clamps onto it. And I'm like,
I have that one.
Man.
It's
crazy. That's where I'm going to be at the show. I'm going to be like trying all the weird phones.
I called it the Canon in my review, in quotes. Canon, like gun, not Canon the brand.
Right.
And it's go check it out. It's on geekspin.co, folks. The Find X9 Pro. I went crazy and wrote like almost 3,000 words, half of it on the camera. So anyway, let's switch gears and talk briefly, speaking of photography, about Halide, the app for iPhone, which is a really great app that's designed to kind of bring you back to some controls and settings and kind of a more analog experience on your iPhone. And one of the features that they added after initially launching it was Process Zero, the idea that it doesn't use any of the kind of HDR / noise reduction, all the extra processing that a smartphone does, so you can get that real, vibe of a normal camera, basically. But camera before they did HDR and stuff. And then now they've added it back into Process Zero, like just a basic HDR, so that you can, because the sensors are just not good enough, really, like to get the dynamic range of a normal camera sensor. So tell us about that experience. How that's kind of changed your perspective a little bit, hasn't it? On the extreme they had of no processing whatsoever, basically was Process Zero 2. The extreme that has become our smartphones today, all of them. I'm very mad at the lack of contrast on these phones. And that's why I think you should check out the Chinese phones. The Oppo, the Xiaomi, they have contrast.
Oh,
they have it. Yeah, they have it, especially if you go into Pro mode. You still get all the benefits. So you get HDR, you get the noise reduction, you get RAW, you get all the things you want, but you can turn everything in on and off. And more importantly, the iPhone, particularly the Samsung, has always done it. And then Pixel's kind of going back to not having enough contrast, in my opinion. And so Halide is a thing that matters for iPhone users, especially right now when iPhone is super flat.
Yeah. And Halide, I think, it's been around. People have really appreciated it for manual controls and that kind of thing. Process Zero version 1 came out last year, and it was that a mode that promises no extra processing, no HDR, no AI is a big part of the pitch. And I was a little skeptic. I'm like, we lived through the days of bad phone cameras, like very bad. And then they've gotten, the ability to just bring in more data. They've gotten bigger sensors and lenses. And I'm like, generally pro, more data in the pipeline, more is going to give you a better image. The weird HDR-ish processing that happens across the board, annoying. Yeah, bring contrast back. I tend to do like the native camera app plus, on an iPhone. Yeah, like something in Lightroom or, rich contrast or the kind of built-in profiles. But this update to Process Zero adds the two things that really stood out to me. Support for HDR, like real HDR. and the ability to capture a raw file that has been through part of the Apple pipeline. So it gets that like captures multiple frames and puts them together, and then it gives you a raw file you can do what you want with.
Yeah.
So it's more it looks better just out of the box, and then it gives you the latitude to, if you do want to raise the shadows or whatever you want. But mainly, I think that the HDR has been a thing I've really enjoyed being in process zero. And it's important to remember the difference between like the HDR look, which is flat and gray and kind of meh, in an HDR photo, which comes with the gain map and pops the highlights and actually, gives you an image that has more contrast and looks better on a high dynamic range display, which most of our phones have at this point. So I'm a little bit of a HDR evangelist in that way.
Same.
Yeah.
I think a bit of HDR. I think the early days of Pixel, like up to Pixel maybe 6 or so, was like 6 series, was like, okay, we've got the right amount of HDR. And then I don't know what happened since then. It's just been like slippery. And iPhone too. I think like you look at iPhone, 12, 13, 14, and it still looks really solid. And then I don't know, like 14, 15, 16, like with iOS, I don't know, 17 or 16 or something, just something what happened there. It's just like, And so have you talked to the Halide folks? Are they going to do an Android version, maybe for a specific set of phones like Samsung or Pixel? Because I feel like that needs to happen.
I know. I would love it. I haven't asked the question. They've been around so long and they've been so iPhone focused.
Yeah.
It would surprise me. I will love it. I will, bother them about it for sure. Yeah, because it is a great experience. I'm like now on board with process zero. You walk around and it's just kind of point and shoot. But you get an image that has actual contrast, that can take advantage of the gain map and make bright things look actually bright and slightly less bright things look, how they should. I had a lot of fun with it. And I think it is, again, a mindset thing of having in my back pocket. I'm like, well, if this doesn't work out and I don't like how it looks, I have that raw file and it didn't just throw a bunch of information away. It went through the pipeline with a little bit of that process.
Mostly unscathed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. This is probably a good segue to the next topics. If there is an iPhone Fold, especially if it behaves like an iPad when open, if it has Halide Process Zero version 3, Mark 3, you were an iPhone mini user for a long time. I don't know if it's still your main or not.
It's right. It's still here.
Yes.
I don't get to use it very much. I'll hold it.
But is that your main SIM still?
I've been like a nomad. My SIM has not been in this iPhone in quite a while, which makes me sad. I still like power it up and give it a software update, But yeah, I know. And it's not lost on me that like this is like, the best phone of all time, the iPhone 13 mini. But then I'm carrying around the Z Fold 7, which is like fully like 4 times bigger.
Well, that's
than
why
this
my question is: Would you switch to the iPhone Fold if it's any good? If it's anything like, it's going to be better camera wise than your iPhone Mini.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's going to be potentially better than the Z Fold 7 in terms of software, at least with the apps it can deliver.
Yeah.
Although I think this whole profile is still going to happen because Google is Google.
Yeah.
And if you use the Google apps on an iPhone, it's better than Google apps on an Android, to be honest, but not by much in that sense of the profile switching and being able to run Google Docs and using, defaulting the mobile version of of websites, if you run Chrome on an iPhone, all that is the same, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious about myself too. Maybe this will be the first time I switch to an iPhone.
Yeah.
And to a single phone. Because right now, the only reason I'm carrying a Pixel 10 Pro XL right now is because Google holds me hostage and my captors treat me well, as we all know from the many times I've said so on the podcast, Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
I need my, call features like hold for me and all that for the few times I use them. I don't know.
Do you airdrop stuff?
Yes, now I do.
Yeah.
It's great.
Man.
I do need, Pixel 9 got it this week. I do need my ability to have a slightly better camera than any folding phone. Like technically, like the sensor sizes and stuff.
Yep.
Even though the Find N5 is impeccable, it still only has an 8 megapixel ultra wide, which is kind of potato. Whereas, the ultra wide on my Pixel is better. But then again, the ultra wide on a Pixel phone isn't as good. And the ultra wide on... Actually, the ultra wide on the Fold 7 is pretty solid, but it's not a 48 or 50 megapixel like I'm used to on pretty much every phone I use now.
Right.
So I really hope, I don't know, we'll see. And actually, maybe the Find N6 will be the one, because I believe they're going back to a full camera stack like the OnePlus Open Oppo Find N3 was, like where they didn't compromise on the cameras. So fingers crossed. But then I'm not in, I'm also not a big fan of iOS in general. I just find the workflow for me works better on Android. So I don't know. We'll see. Speaking of, oh my God, let's talk about the Pixel 10a briefly.
Okay, it's time.
Yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean, I get it, but I also just don't like it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a Pixel 9a. It's a Pixel 9a, and you can buy a Pixel 9a for $150 less with 1 year of less support. And you don't get satellite connectivity for emergencies. That's basically the difference.
Yeah, and I can kind of see both sides. I see, if Google was under pressure with the RAM situation to keep the price tag, I would rather have the price tag stay at $499 than more RAM in it, more significant updates, and it's a little bit more expensive. Personally, it makes for a boring phone. And it's like, this is... I
agree with you. I agree, but I feel like they marketed it wrong. Like that briefing we had was the worst freaking briefing ever. They would not answer any of our questions. And I'm like, you guys are phoning at home. And this is what annoys me about Google. It's like, if you had said, listen, as you can see, it's not really the same phone. The camera bump is completely flush. It was sticking out by 1/4 of a millimeter before. As you can see, the bezels are slightly thinner, even though it's the same size screen, and it's brighter. And as you can see, it charges a little faster wired and wireless. We've actually re-engineered the entire inside of the phone to be more economical to make so we could reach the price point we did. Because of inflation, because of tariffs, we were able to keep the price by re-engineering the inside. And we thought, let's not change the specs because it's a pretty good phone, but we can't continue making the 9A because the 9A costs us too much to make and it would sell for more. If they had told us that, which is possibly what happened, then I would have been like, hallelujah, let's celebrate this.
Right.
But no, instead we get like, it's a different phone. But we're all like, but it's not. It's like, I feel like we're getting gaslit. Instead, they could have crafted this entire thing. And who knows, maybe Jerry Rig, Zach would have taken it apart and said, guys, this is super optimized. And they did tell us that they used a lot more recycled materials. And maybe that's part of the story. Why didn't they emphasize on that some more? There's so many things that they could have totally made this phone a hero product. And yet they didn't. I understand the economics, I understand the RAM, I understand that G5 is expensive versus G4. The magnet though is a bit weird. I figured that perhaps if they re-engineer the inside, maybe Pixel Snap, MagSafe compatible, considering the rest of the lineup has it.
Yeah.
You look at the Pixel 9 Pro Fold versus Pixel 10 Pro Fold, and they did tell us that, they look very similar, but we really spent a lot of time re-engineering this phone. It's more durable. Like, you know, you took it to the beach and everything. You went, stuck it in the sand. I'm like, oh my God, Allison, what are you doing?
Do not try this at
I
home.
know.
Yeah.
and all that. But my point is, like, they did make a fuss about it. They were like, no, guys, this is like, it's not just G5 and Pixel Snap, which is what it looked like on paper. But then I looked at the phone. If you look, the SIM tray is being relocated there. So clearly they did stuff to it, even though dimensionally it's, and overall feels the same. The hinge feels better too. So all of that, they could have done that with a 10A, and we don't know because they don't tell us. They they're making us write terrible reviews right now with what we know.
I know. My Galaxy brain take is we don't need a new phone every year. Like, let's just not. What if, who's going to be brave enough to be like, you know what? This phone is great. We're just going to keep making it. We're not going to pretend and like trot out something that is sort of new but really isn't. Or it was an exercise in optimization. Don't do the whole dog and pony, is that right?
Yeah.
Don't do a whole show. Just be like, you know, we refreshed it basically the same as last year. We're all good.
Yeah, I think honestly, I could, you know, if they said, look, we are running out of stock on the 9A, which is why it's on sale. Like, they couldn't even have said that. They could say, we're running out of stock 9A. We feel like we need a replacement, but we needed to keep the price down. So we re-engineered the whole thing. Here's your 10A.
Right.
And we've been like, okay, fair. And then I could say, instead of saying, go buy a 9A because it's $350 on Amazon right now and you're saving $150, I would, in my review, I will say, oh, well, maybe you should buy the 10A because, you know, it's better for the environment and it's better for our economy. If you want to support the, you know, the economy right now or whatever. Like, I don't know, like, it's just, it grates me the wrong way. And also, like, this whole emphasis, like, some features are now available from the 10 series on the 10A that aren't available on 9A. And we know it's exactly the same hardware other than the satellite connectivity, which I do believe requires more chips. So, like, what gives? Oh, yeah, I know what gives. 3 months from now, the 9A is going to get those features guaranteed with a software update. And then you'll have the exact same phone, except for satellite connectivity. Oh. Right, because they've done this so many times. Look at it, like the 9 just got airdropped. So of course, you know, why wouldn't the 9A get the 10A features?
And it's such a dance of like, they introduced the new Pixel phones. It's like, look at the amazing things that it does. And we're like, is this going to come to the previous phone? And they will go, we don't know. And then it does.
Of
and
course.
Then you have to kind of like recalibrate from there. And it's just a weird dynamic of, that's kind of the point of these phones, the whole series, to be like, yeah, we make the chip, we make the hardware. Every phone is going to get brand new, exciting features every month for the rest of your time with it. Like, great. But then it's just this little mystery every time that happens. It's like, guess what? Airdrop on the Pixel 9. Like, cool. Why not the 9A? We don't know.
Google, this is what I'm mad at them. This is peaking madness this week for me. Like, come on. Like, and this
your
is the
eyes
worst
just
part.
Twitching with every.
The worst part is we know it's going to be a fantastic phone. If you buy this phone, you're going to be super freaking happy at that price point. But then now I can't give it a 4.5 out of 5 like I did last year. I'm going to have to give it a 3.5 because the way they market it to me is BS.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
and then they're not going to sell as many. And I'm like, I kind of feel like my Pixel review should be an opinion piece and not a freaking review. But my editors will never let me do that.
Oh,
never.
No.
Hot hardware is very like, we're talking about the hardware. And that's why it's getting harder and harder because everything is software now. So like, they're like, well, don't spend too much time on software and AI. I'm like, it's a Pixel, guys. Then what do I write? Read my review of the Pixel 10 series because it's the same freaking software stack. And this is the problem. It's like, and that's why I like what you do on the Verge. They give you enough room to be creative and have fun with it, like Purse Computer, like the Halide review, or like the little Bluetooth speaker review you just did. You know,
thanks.
It's like, I don't get that. It's like, it's a review. You know what to do. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna literally copy paste and rewrite the review I wrote last year, and that's not what I want to do. I don't want to plagiarize myself. You know, technically it's not a problem because it's the same publication and it's the same author, but like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, a universal pain, I think, but scoring is always the most painful part of, an official review. And it's just, how do you boil everything down in the context, of what last year's phone was, what the Pixel 10 is, and for how much the 10A costs. And it's like such an impossible task. That's the thing I wrestle with so much is putting a score on these things. And I break out in hives every time I do. So
yeah. Well, right now, my take is going to be, I'm going to put the emphasis on highlighting what's changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell the people to read my 9A review from last year to start, and then highlight the things that have changed, and then basically say, look, I hate to say this, it's a great phone, but you should buy the 9A because it's on sale on Amazon for $350. And because of the fact that I don't see much progress, and Google isn't selling me any on that progress, whatever they made, whatever changes happened inside, they didn't talk about, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. That's it. That's going to be my approach. You just got my review.
Just transcribe what you just said.
Yep.
There you go.
So let's talk about Samsung real quick because, oh my God, I feel like I'm going to need to gird my loins about next week so hard. Like I'm just going to literally put a corset on or something. Like keep myself from getting too mad. I am so not looking forward to these phones. Especially because I'm more into, like, honestly, the 10A is more interesting in a way because I'm now curious to see what they did inside of it, which I'm not going to take it apart, but Zach will. But I'm kind of more like the privacy feature that they've already kind of teased is probably the biggest thing, right? Mm-hmm. But you wrote a very brief little one of those little clip things you guys do on The Verge about the AI. There's all these teasers they're doing about AI features, camera AI and other AI, and it's like they're turning into Google in a way. They're trying to turn into Google, and I would say they're trying to turn into Apple because putting the software and services emphasis, but Apple doesn't really have good AI right now, so I don't know. Like, and to be fair, like now that I'm using the Z Fold 7 again. Like some of the AI features, especially on the imaging, on the editing, are really great. And I'm not upset about any of that. We know the specs are just going to be super iterative. Like it feels like potentially because of tariffs and because of the economy, they're trying to keep it manageable because we heard rumors that they were going to introduce a bunch of better cameras and stuff on the Ultra and it just got canceled last minute or something. So what's your take on what Samsung's doing? Do you think that this is a constraint or do you think that they're just kind of sailing along and not caring because Google is sailing along and Apple are sailing along and that's all that matters in this market, which is probably their biggest market?
Yeah, I think it is. I know we have so little competition here and when it does feel like they're all hitting a plateau and whether that's because there are basically 3 companies that sell phones in this country, and one of them barely has single digit.
Yeah, percentage. It's 1% now for Google. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, but so there's that. There's also like the technology maturing, etc., which I buy. But it does look like they're going to be very iterative and very software focused. The way I'm reading, I'm curious what you think about the kind of teaser they did that I wrote up for The Verge was they were like, we're bringing, all these AI creation tools into one place. And it kind of read to me like they're going to cram a bunch of generative AI stuff right into the gallery app or into the native camera app.
Google Photos did last year, where it really became like the first thing you do is AI, and then you have to kind of dig in to get all the settings and things. The tweaks, right? Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look, Samsung makes really great hardware. I think they're in general behind the Chinese in the sense that they line themselves up with what Apple's doing because Samsung is really a 2-market pony. It's Korea and North America, right? Europe is not, I mean, it's there, but most on the mid-range and the A series and stuff.
Yeah.
And China, they don't have much of a hold at all. So they're lining themselves up with Apple, which are pretty strong in these markets.
Yeah.
And I think they're not lining themselves up with the Chinese. And because of that, now that they saw what Pixel did, and Pixel's becoming more relevant in the public eye, I think that they're being like, okay, let's do the best of both of our main competitors in North America.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they're doing the event here in San Francisco, when traveling to North America is, especially the US, is a fraught thing for a lot of foreigners right now, tells you that this is their market.
Yeah. Yeah.
US is their market. And so I feel bad for Samsung because I'm like, you shouldn't put your eggs in the US basket at this point in time with geopolitics. Like, if you're smart, you're doing what Canada's doing and lining yourself up with the Chinese, because you know what? That's where you need to be. And I feel like, when I see those Chinese phones and use them, I'm like, they are so far ahead of us. Like with the EVs, I'm like, this is where I want to be. Like, this is why I'm using the Fine N5. This is why it was been so hard to put away the Fine X9 Pro after using it. Like, the only thing keeping away from making that my main phone right now is the Pixel features, like the ones that I'm so used to. Like,
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's like, I'm totally a hostage of Google.
Yeah.
So this whole Samsung thing is like, it's hard for me to get excited. Again, the phones are going to be great. If you're coming from an S22 or S23, like, this is going to be your phone. If you're coming from an older Ultra, it's going to be your phone, And we all know a lot of these AI features are going to trickle down to S25 series and possibly even S24. So I don't know.
And
I'm honestly more excited about the earbuds, if there are earbuds.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they've been pretty great in the last 2 or 3 generations. So
I, for a long time, for whatever reason, just have some OnePlus earbuds, which are the ones I use.
Amazing. They're my go-to. OnePlus and Nothing are my go-to earbuds, above Samsung, above Apple, above Sony even, because they are the best of everything. Good noise canceling, great sound quality, good battery life, and more importantly, they're affordable. If you lose one, big deal. You just go buy another pair.
Yeah.
Whereas you lose a pair of like $250 earbuds or $300 in the case of Sony, you're like, ouch,
Yeah. You're like, I'm not.
You lose a pair of $129 OnePlus, Buds 4, which are my go-to right now because they're like the mid-range, they're the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Well, it's you're upset, but it's not like, okay, this is like, and I have to, it depends on your budget, but you might be able to say, oh, I'll just buy another pair, right? So,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I am just, I find it difficult, same with the Pixel, to review phones that are just an iterative little delta over the previous. I think the privacy screen is going to be great. I'm sure the AI features will be nice, but I hate writing about AI features. Like, I want, if you read my Oppo Find X9 Pro review, like, I was able to talk about sensor sizes and lenses and configurations and like, silicon carbon batteries and like, like all the things that make the hardware make the software sing. It's like, software is awesome. They're both super important and complementary with hardware, but like, I feel like there's so much emphasis. And that's why I was so happy with the iPhone 17 series this year, is that Apple finally decided to make real phones again. Like, the 17 base is probably the best iPhone that's been made in the last 10 years.
Oh, totally.
Like, it's absolutely phenomenal. And I know a lot of you are going to buy the Pro because you can get it subsidized and you want the telephoto, which is totally fair. Like, if you're a family, you want the telephoto, right? Kids and all that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't need that. Like, the 17 is so good.
Yeah.
And then the 17 Pro Max are real freaking pickup truck grade flagships that do everything really well this time. There's no like kind of tiptoeing around the fact that you're making they're proing, as I've been saying, they're proing hardcore at Apple. And we're not even seeing that at Samsung. I feel like the Ultra is going to be like, yeah, we made an Ultra. Here you go. And I'm like you could Ultra this thing. You could really have pushed the envelope of Ultra like Apple did. Because look, Apple finally brought us 3 48 megapixel cameras. They finally did the thing where they're like, titanium is not really working out. Let's go back to aluminum and make this thing look it feels like a tool now.
Yeah,
And to
yeah.
me, Pro phones and Ultra phones and Pro Plus phones, whatever they're called, should be Pro Max, should be tools. Like
Yeah.
I feel like the cheaper phones can feel like more like an appliance, like a, you know, like a device you need, but not like a tool. To me, the Pro phones mean you're professional. You're a professional mobiler.
Yeah, professional phone user.
Yeah.
No, especially the Ultra. And I think like the Galaxy Ultra has just in the past has kind of been in its own class, where it's like Apple wouldn't even dream of like cramming every single thing that they could into a phone, you know. Like Samsung's like, heck yes, we'll do it. We'll put 5 cameras on this thing. But they've kind of pared back a little bit. It's like they got a little too nervous about all that stuff. And it's like, oh, well, people are not really using a stylus, so we just take it away. It's like, give us something to make us feel like, yes, this really is Ultra. And magnets. I want magnets.
Yeah, well, even the Chinese are not getting the magnets. It's just pissing me off. Get the magnets, guys.
Right.
Google finally got the magnets, except for the 10A. Anyway, freaking hell. Anyway, Apple's got their event scheduled for March 4th, so keep an ear and eye on that. We're expecting a ton of stuff. 17E, we talked about that last week. We got a bunch of rumors on that. Looks like it's going to be an upgrade on the 16E with potentially maybe a dynamic island, but maybe not. But definitely a single camera, and definitely the newest chips, and hopefully MagSafe this time, because last time no MagSafe, it was like, it really annoyed me. It was like, Apple really, it's one of the defining things you do and you're like, nope.
Yeah, that's what that really missed. And being at the price it was.
Yeah, especially for you paying that $100 more than a Pixel 9a, you know. Anyway, we'll see. But one I'm most excited about, and you know, there'll be MacBook Pros with M5 chip, like Max and Pro chips, because there's already a MacBook Pro with an M5, which is phenomenal, by the way. Maybe an Air with M5, great. I'm excited about this supposed entry-level $600 to $700 MacBook with aluminum with colors that's running some sort of A chip, potentially A19 Pro. We know that the A18 Pro and A19 Pro, whatever chip they end up there, already exceed the M1 in performance from the old days and match almost the M2. And as an M2 Air user with 8 gigs, I would like to say, because the device I got was not my choice. I'm fine. I mean, I learned from my 12-inch Intel MacBook 5-year experience to only open up to 10 tabs. And you know, I can live with that right now. I do that. So that's fine with 8 gigs. And considering RAM prices, I think that's reasonable. That still gives you access to Apple Intelligence whenever that comes. But more importantly, the only thing you're going to lose on these, just so you know, so everybody's clear, is Thunderbolt, because these 8 chips do not support Thunderbolt. Now, I rarely use Thunderbolt ever on my MacBook Air, so this is not going to be a big loss. If it's a more foldable MacBook with the same quality build and the same software experience as my MacBook Air for a lighter, thinner, more foldable device, I don't really care if it's M1, M2 levels of performance. I am so on board, and if I don't get a review unit from Apple, I'm going to buy one. 100%. This is going to be my go-to travel laptop. Right now, I do 4K video editing and Final Cut on my Air 2 with 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. Again, I didn't choose that storage. Normally, I'd go for at least 512 on my own personal Mac. So, I'm on board. Like, I will do this. I will replace my MacBook Air with this because I want light and thin all day long.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and bringing back
colors.
Because
I have a iMac in Vancouver. This is a Mac. Here I'm in San Francisco. This is a Mac Mini with a Samsung 5K display. But I have a iMac up and I've got like the green one. I didn't actually. That was the one that was on sale at the time. They had in stock. But like, I love it. It actually looks really great.
Yeah, I know. We can't discount that. And I know sometimes the more exciting stuff is like, what can you configure into something that's affordable and appealing to people. And I find that just as exciting, if not more exciting than like, what is the latest M series chip going to be put into? And
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
it would be
I'm
great.
stoked about this Apple event simply for that MacBook and maybe a little bit the 17e, because I'm hoping they can just crank it up a notch to where it should be.
Yeah.
It should still have an ultra wide. I'm still going to ding in on that, but
Yeah.
I know how Apple thinks. 17e 1 camera, 17 2 camera, 17 Pro 3 cameras. This is the way. We are
The way.
Apple. We
Linear.
do live in a world where one camera is still a thing. Anybody checked out the iPhone Air recently? It has a single camera. I love the iPhone Air, but seriously, a single camera on a $999 phone.
It's tough.
We know Apple engineers could have totally pulled it off.
Yeah.
In the same way as like 100% pulled off stereo speakers, in the same way as they could have put a SIM tray in there for Europe, because we know that because the S25 Edge is only 0.5 millimeters thicker and has all of that.
Yeah. It is.
Come on,
funny.
Samsung can't be possibly as good at engineering things as Apple. Like,
yeah,
I believe they're really good, but they're not Apple good. Like, we've seen what Apple does. Like, I feel like there was some design people that were like, no, we must make it minimalist.
Yeah.
That will be our selling point. Yes. Aluminium.
Yeah. Aluminium again. That's it's always the aluminium. It's funny to me that like having the opportunity to revisit cameras of the last year, I have not been drawn back to the Air or the Edge, honestly.
No.
And I'm like, they're cool. When I use them, I'm like, this is meaningfully different. It's light, but yeah, I think I'm falling into. I'm just too much in that category of like, I do want that ultra wide when I need the ultra wide, or I want the
telephoto,
better telephoto. Yeah, those little things on the edge that you give up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, let's rapid fire to some other news here. So look forward to all this Apple stuff. Speaking of companies making phones coming soon, Nothing Phone A has been confirmed to come on March 5th. There's an event in London, I believe. And so we have, again, these are not official, but we have a whole bunch of details that have leaked. I will link to a GSM Arena post on that. Basically, it's exactly what you think, an upgrade over last year. It's going to have like basically possibly a better camera system than the Phone 3, which is kind of crazy to me, but that's kind of what it was last year, to be honest, right? Like if you look at last year's Phone 3A Pro, it was a better camera system than what came in the 3 afterwards, even though the rest of the phone was lower spec. And so I'm actually excited to see what they do there. The basic rumors right now is that you're getting 350 megapixel sensors on the base model, but a better telephoto on the Pro like last year. But you're also getting the glyph, the old glyph on the base model, and then the glyph matrix on the better Pro version, which is interesting because it's like, okay, the matrix didn't really hit to me. Like it's cool, but it's like I think the glyph was kind of signature for them, and I don't know why they dropped that.
Do you use the glyph interface?
But I mean, I think some people could. I think given the option, the glyph versus the glyph matrix, I take the glyph. And also, supposedly the Pro will have a metal frame, not a plastic frame like last year. But I think the base will still have a plastic. Who knows? Snapdragon 7 something series and displays are 1.5K this year. So like that's the rumors. Again, none of this is confirmed. So I'll be at MWC when they announce this in London. I'll probably be there too. Keep an ear out for that. Also Moto, I got last week, we unboxed the FIFA Razr on the podcast. Those of you watch on video, it's very pretty. And apparently there's 3 more FIFA editions coming. There's a Fold, like that awesome. I'm very excited about that.
Wow.
That we're going to get the Moto Razr Fold in the US. And it like we played with it at CES and it looks competitive with the Z Fold 7. terms of specs, which means it'll probably be competitive with the Chinese and competitive, well, Lenovo is Chinese, but competitive with the Oppos and Honors that are leading in that field right now, and competitive also with hopefully the Galaxy Z Fold 8, which I expect it to be, there's a wide version, but I expect the main one to be just an iteration, honestly. I think they're going to fix the things we were missing last year, which are like a better telephoto and probably stylus support. And then I don't think they're going to put magnets in this generation yet.
No.
I think that nobody's putting magnets in their folding phones just yet, because it takes up so much space, and thin is the name of the game, as you know from First Computer.
Yeah, I'll allow it. I'm like, I do enjoy this being as thin and as light as it is.
Yeah,
probably. Just
for that, I think it's fair, because especially if you want a kickstand, you're going to put a case on that for the kickstand, and maybe that can have magnets. Yeah, I don't know. And then let's see what else we got here. We've got so Moto FIFA phones. Well, let's see what happens. Find X9 Ultra details have leaked, including images, potentially what it looks like. It looks like a camera. I love it. It's really good. It's got leather back and like an implied grip.
I'm on board.
And I just reviewed the Find X9 Pro, and that has 3 cameras. One is a 200 megapixel, and that's the telephoto. This is rumored to have a 200 megapixel main and a 200 megapixel telephoto, and then a 10x 50 megapixel telephoto on top of that. This is like, wow. And
see, this is what I'm talking about. Ultra, like that's an ultra phone.
I know. And it's coming globally. Like last year, I reviewed the Chinese model. Again, it's on geekspin.co, so check it out. For a very brief window of time, there is my go-to camera phone. And now the Find X9 Pro is actually better than the Find X8 Ultra in some ways. So it's iterating really rapidly. Like, I didn't think that we were going to iterate so fast. I thought it was going to be much more progressive, these steps, but China is just throwing everything at it, and I can't wait to get my hands on a Xiaomi 17 Ultra at some point, because that's supposedly coming out as a global phone at MWC as well. So, wow, right? Okay, so what else do we got? Okay, quickly mention here, the Vivo 70 series is out. The reason I bring up the V series from Vivo is that it's kind of a sweet spot of $500-ish phone that has a Zeiss camera system on it. So it's not as good as their flagship, the X series that we all love and can't get because they're mostly China. Even I can't get them. Review units are generally pretty stingy on them. But the V series, sometimes they'll send me one. And the V series is nice because it's like generally like some mid-range with a Snapdragon 7 series or something. And it's really nice. It's really well made. It has really good specs and everything, silicon carbon battery and the whole shebang. But usually has this kind of pretty decent, 3-camera Zeiss branded and Zeiss, color science, like their partnership with Zeiss, coming down from the X series down to the V series. So there you go. I'll leave some links to the GSM Arena coverage on that, so you guys, those of you who are in markets like the Philippines, Malaysia, or whatever, who are listening, I know I have a big international audience. Those of you listening out there can decide if you want to play with it or consider it. I've requested a V70. They pinged me about the V70, not the V70 Elite. I think the V70 Elite might be India only, but the V70 is going to be global. So I'll see if I can get one. And stay tuned on future podcasts for that, potentially. Yeah, what are your thoughts in general on this China stuff that's so cool?
Jealousy. Yeah.
Jealousy.
I want, the silicon carbon batteries are so
amazing,
appealing. Yeah. And yeah, I understand the hesitancy in the US.
So I have a story coming up, by the way, on Tom's Guide soon about silicon carbon. I've interviewed the OnePlus Oppo crew that's behind that, and the Honor crew that's behind that. And I asked them some hard questions, including questions like, what do you think the reluctance is from the competition in the West to adopt these batteries? And do you think that their concerns that they expressed are legitimate? And I got some interesting answers.
Ooh, I'm excited to read that.
So it'll be a lot of quotes in that story, mostly. I'm not going to go into explaining what silicon carbon batteries are. That might be a little very basic paragraph on that. But we got in the weeds with the questions, and it's really interesting because, like, Honor is on like their 5th gen. which is insane. And they're doing it safely. And their safety standards are insane too, because they know like they can't screw this up. Like, you know what happened last time somebody screwed it up.
Yeah.
Samsung still has PTSD from that. So I think it's what I came away with, like, what you're hearing from Apple, Samsung, and Google is BS after talking to these engineers that I interviewed, these product people that work in China on these batteries. Like, this is the real deal, guys. This is where we're going. It's inevitable. Like, yes, 3-day battery life on your phone is going to be a normal thing 3 years from now for everyone.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah. Once you experience it, it's like, wow.
I have a phone here. I've talked about it on the podcast many, many times. It's the Realme P4 Power. Right here, it's in its case. And it's 9mm thick, the thickness of an iPhone 17 Pro Max. It's just a mid-range phone, $450. 10,001 milliamp hour battery, silicon carbon, 80-watt charging. I am literally getting 6 days of battery life on light use on that phone.
Wow.
Almost a week.
10,000. Oh
10,001.
And one. Do you think they put the extra one?
They wanted to beat Honor, who also has a 10,000 milliamp hour. You know, seriously, that's basically what they told me. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I've been using this phone, and honestly, like, it's a game changer. Like, charging, what's that? Like, you're just like, oh, and then when you do have to charge, it's like 80 watt. Like, okay, fine. You know, on a 10,000, it takes a little while to do 80 watt, but in 10 minutes of charge, you're still getting like a day. Plug it in for 10 minutes and you're getting a day and a half of refill.
Gosh.
Yeah, it's insane.
Meanwhile, we're going to be on our flights to Europe, and the Z Fold 7 or whatever I'm going to be bringing, I think that's going to be lasting 6 days.
Yeah, I think I'll have the N5, and that has a silicon carbon. It's about 5,500 or 57. I mean, it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
All right, Allison, tell folks where they can find you on the internet, beyond the Verge, your social media and all that, of course.
I am Allison Joe 1 on Threads and Instagram, and Blue Sky. I'm not on Blue Sky too much, but I dabble in Blue Sky. But yeah, find me on The Verge. You can follow, subscribe, like, all those things, mash all those buttons.
Indeed. Folks, you got to read Allison at The Verge. I've linked to all the stories that she wrote, we talked about, in the show notes, and, you know, check her out on social. You're on the same platforms that I might mostly follow. My handle is TNKGRL, folks. You know, there's Tank Girl without the vowels, like the comic book character. Except on TikTok. I have a TikTok. I use it very rarely, but TNKGRL69, my year of birth. Don't make fun. You know, I just was like, had to create something really quickly, and I didn't think much about it. And it's kind of funny in retrospect. Anyway, mostly on Blue Sky, mostly on Threads, mostly on Instagram, but I'm everywhere else, including Mastodon for some reason. So find me, add me, talk with Allison and I about this podcast, ask us questions. You know, the podcast lives at mobiletechpodcast.com. That's where you can subscribe. There's links to all the major platforms on everything, obviously Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music, all that. So please find me there, subscribe if it's your first time here, if it's your second, nth time, whatever. If your app lets you rate or review the show, consider doing that. YouTube is at youtube.com/mobiletechpodcast. There's some clips and videos and unboxings and hands-ons. There'll be one about the Samsung stuff next week. And then, you know how YouTube works. So like, subscribe, tell your friends, click the bell, all that good stuff. Comment. Yeah. Patreon is at patreon.com/TNKGRL. For $5 a month, you can get every week a version of this podcast with video, where we sometimes show products, sometimes have bloopers, sometimes go overtime. And you get that a day in advance. So consider helping me out, supporting me on Patreon, patreon.com/TNKGRL. And finally, I want to thank our sponsor, Mint Mobile. So as you know, I'm constantly reviewing multiple phones, and while that's fun, it also means I'm constantly spending a lot of money for wireless service on multiple SIMs. That's where Mint Mobile comes in, and that's who I'm partnering with for today's podcast. If you also want to save money on your wireless service, switch to Mint Mobile. As tech-savvy early adopters, you've probably heard of Mint Mobile before, but let me quickly tell you how awesome their service is. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online. They cut out the retail stores and salespeople. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? In my experience testing phones, Mint Mobile delivers the same data speeds and call quality as the big three for a fraction of the cost. Switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to their eSIMs, you can sign up and activate immediately right on your phone from the comfort of your home. No more standing around and waiting in line at a big wireless store. You can keep your current device and phone number and easily switch services. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will ship you a new SIM free of charge. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, lightning fast 5G, and free mobile hotspot. Mint will show you how much data you use each month and recommend plans that save you money. Mint also offers a modern family plan that lets you set up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. Use my link mintmobile.com/mobiletech to get premium wireless starting for $15 a month. That's mintmobile.com/mobiletech. Stop paying more than you need on your wireless bill and start saving big with Mint Mobile. And Allison, thanks again for being my guest. So much fun talking about really crazy purse computers.
Thank you. Always a joy.
Fantastic. We'll have you on again in the future. And folks, we'll have a podcast next week from Samsung's madness. So stay tuned for that. Until then, cheers, everybody.